When you sing, you begin with do, re, mi.
Do, re, mi.
Do, re, mi. The first three notes just happen to be do, re, mi.
Do, re, mi.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, let's see if I can make it easier. Do, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun. Mi, a name I call myself. Fa, a long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread. La, a note to follow. So, tea, a drink with jam and bread. That will bring us back to do. Oh, oh, oh.
Do.
A deer, a female deer.
Re.
A drop of golden sun.
Mi.
A name I call myself.
Fa.
A long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread. La, a note to follow. So, tea,
A drink with jam and bread.
that will bring us back to do.
A deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun. Mi, a name I call myself. Fa, a long, long way to run.
So, a needle pulling thread. La, a note to follow. So, tea, a drink with jam and bread. That will bring us back to do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So, do. Now, children, do, re, mi, fa, so, and so on are only the tools we use to build a song. Once you have these notes in your heads, you can sing a million different tunes by mixing them up, like this. So, do, la, fa, mi, do, re. Can you do that?
So, do, la, fa, mi, do, re.
So, do, la, ti, do, re, do.
So, do, la, ti, do, re, do.
Now put it all together. So, do, la, fa, mi, do, re. So, do, la, ti, do, re, do. Good.
But it doesn't mean anything.
So we put in words, one word for every note, like this. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. Together. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. Do. A drop of golden sun. A name I call myself. So, thread. A note to follow. So, a drink with jam and bread. That will bring us back to do.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Do, do.
Si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, mi, so, re, fa, fa, la, ti, ti. Do, mi, so, re, fa, fa, la, ti, ti.
When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. A doe, a deer, a female deer. Ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself. A long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread. A note to follow. So, tea.
One of the exciting things about writing and teaching a sushi class is that I have skills and experience and a story that I can share, and I use Grammarly to help me edit. Even in San Francisco, sushi rice is very difficult for them to understand, or it's a mystery. For me, grew up in Japan, eating rice every day. Cooking rice is not that difficult, and I started thinking, well, let's just start doing sushi class. People who never made sushi before, they make their first roll, and during that maybe 10 minutes of rolling the sushi, something happened.
And we're live. Hot diggity dog. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you guys are here. Wherever you are, you're here. Let's see, what are we looking for? We're looking for that. So we got, let's see, Herman's here, Rudy's here, Dan's here, Jamie's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you that are joining us on Facebook, Facebook seems to be glitchy today, so we can't, I'm not sure that actually, well, Facebook stream's going out, but we can't monitor the chat in vMix Social today. So for whatever reason, you know, it's yeah, that's what you get when you get what you pay for. Let's see what we've got there. Yeah, we don't have too many comments, so we're not missing much. Anyway, it's going to be kind of an interesting show today, as you could tell by the prelude. Hopefully that won't get everything blocked. But hey, Dave. Hey, Ken. Welcome, welcome. We're going to take this is for longtime viewers of the show. This is a trip down memory lane. So let's start at the very beginning. Hence the singing lesson that you got earlier. So it's going to be really fun. I've gone back and pulled some statistics, and there was one other statistic I wanted to get, so please indulge me. Oh, goodness, that's what I was trying to prevent, was the yawn. And we'll turn down the phone. Yeah, that would be worthwhile. We have messages. Leaving the house now, no packages. That would be Sandy. And somebody wants to do a tech support call in the middle of the instant replay meeting, so I'll have to reply to him. Let me do that real quick. From 6 to 8:30. Maybe early in the morning. Sorry about this. When I want to type maybe early in the morning, it says maybe reseller in the corn cob. Let's see, early. Please forgive me. In the morning. For some reason, this swipe text on the Samsung has trouble with the word morning and the word cameras. So we'll turn down the ringtone. And that's going to turn down notifications, so we're good to go right there. All right. So there we go. Otis is here. Welcome, Otis. Hot Texas. Yeah, it's hot here in Alabama. It's kind of overcast today. Oh, yeah, we were looking up one more statistic. Can we just do that? Can we just go to it and see? Patience. History. Your channel. That's what I'm interested in. Going to my channel, going to About, and going to, oh, it doesn't tell me. I thought it was going to tell me how many videos I have. Where can I find how many videos I have? I know it's a bunch, but I'm just curious. Home. Let's go to home and see what home does. No, home doesn't tell me either. It was a bunch. Oh, well. And now the phone is going to annoy me. Sorry about that. Okay. So the guy said, we're putting a vMix system on a big boat, and the boat's only available certain times. Golly gee. Can anybody tell me how to go to find out how many videos you might have in your YouTube? My channel, Creator Studio. Let's check Creator Studio. I don't think it's there. We'll go to the Video Manager. Oh, there it is. Got it. All right. There we go. We're getting good. We're getting good. We're getting good. If we're not good, we're getting good. Yeah, that's what I always say. So, let's take a look here. Nick, you're my hero today. Yes, you are. It's all your fault, as they used to say on the World of Live Streaming show. It's Tom's fault. Yes. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. That's right. So it's all Nick's fault. That's right. It's Nick's fault. Doggone you, Nick. Nick is in the instant replay class that starts tonight. And you know what? I need to get over to the studio section so we can start the show. So if you guys will bear with me 1 second, we'll go ahead and, well, let's just move over there and then we'll get the show going. So let's see if, do we have a shot of the studio? There we go. Why, he says. All right, let's go. Let's move over to the studio. So we'll take the phone, not that we want it. And, you know, it's funny. What mic are we on? Yeah, there, we're still on the desktop mic. It's funny. You take a look at that, it's like, oh, what a grubby little place. And then when you get all the green screen going and all that stuff, it looks good. All right, sit tight. Be right back. Actually, I'm still here, so. Next keys, get my cheat sheet. We'll change mics. So there we go. And, oops, we gotta reposition that guy. There we are, that's better. All right, so let's see. Are we good? Yes, you are to blame. That's true. And we're coming up to that story in just a second. So, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my goodness. Welcome. Welcome to another in the never-ending series of Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair. You have officially arrived at the end of the internet. That's right. It doesn't go any further than this. I'm really delighted to be with you today. Today is kind of a nostalgic look at Streaming Idiots and the whole live streaming thing. I want to tell you all the stories. If you like stories, this is the kind of hey Daniel, glad you're here. This is the kind of show where you'll want to just sort of kick back and relax. It's not going to be a lot of tech stuff, but there'll be some goodies as it goes along. Before I forget, I want to make sure that that you guys know that that IBC is coming up here very shortly. I think this is the IBC. Nope, that's not it. How about that? There we go. Let's try that. IBC is coming up in September in Amsterdam. You want to make sure you're there. If you're there, you want to go to the vMix booth in let's see, that would be, let's do that one. There you go. And if you look way up there at the top, you see the 7. Right below that is the 6. That's the hall that vMix is in. So between hall number 7, the purple one at the top, and hall number 1, the red one right below it, that's vMix is in number 6, right up there. So if vMix is in number 6, then you want to go to 6 and then booth C13. The code to get in, you need to register like today to get free access. The code, the vMix code is 21565. So go ahead and register for your IBC pass. For 21565, you can get in for free, and I'm going to be there. vMix has invited me to come join them. They say that I have to wear closed-toed shoes, but we'll be there. We'll be right next to Bird Dog, so it's going to be a ton of fun. It's 5 days in Amsterdam, and I hope you'll pop in and say hello and see all the good stuff coming up, or not coming up, but that is in vMix. No, I've heard no rumors of what's in vMix 23, so don't even ask. vMix 23 is a total for your eyes only, and they don't include my eyes. So there you go. So definitely want to hope that you come to where is it? There's it right there. There you go. Come to booth Building 6, booth C13. And hang out with us at vMix and go next door to Bird Dog. And of course, the PTZ Optics folks are going to be there. Tess will be there from PTZ Optics, and Patrick and all that crew. The X Keys folks, Dan and Maggie, will be there. So you'll want to come see your favorite live streaming gear companies. It will be a ton of fun, and there going to be a few other people there as well. And so I think that begins September 13th, goes through the 17th. Is that right? 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Yeah, that's right. And so it'll be a ton of fun. A ton of fun. Let's see. So I'm tongue-tied, and actually, I'm really kind of busy today. So I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna work along a little bit on this guy while we talk, because I'm way behind. So if you see me working and not paying attention, it's because I'm trying to do double duty here. I've got this really cool sniper RAM, and it's got camo on it. Yeah, so we're putting in some sniper RAM. So anyway, back in July of 2012. July of 2012, so that's like 7 years ago, we started an online streaming show, and including that show, Streaming Idiots is the longest continuously running live streaming show about live streaming shows on the internet. A dubious honor, to be sure. So we've been going for over 7 years now. We started out with VidBlaster because that's all I had. That's all I knew. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any different. And it was nice Yuan 4-port SDI capture card. If you're interested in one, we have them. Oh, let's don't use that first. And we're going to do a little Blackmagic mini monitor so we can get some SDI video output. And excuse me for just a second. We got to line that rascal up. There we go. There we go. So we did the very first show, July 12th, 2002. And Amnon Nissan, bless his heart, came on as my very first guest. It was a horrid show. I think we had, I don't know, over the years, we've had 514 views on the show on YouTube. But technologically, it was trash. It really was. But we were learning. And the next week, we did another show. It was me and Alan Bunt. Big shout out to Al. And that show on Church Live Streaming in 2012, July 18th, 2012, had over 10,000 views because of the subject, because it was about church live streaming. There were so many people that were interested in it. And Al's been on the show, I think, 2 or 3 times since then. And in fact, is coming up on the show soon because we just built him a system, not exactly like this, but similar to this one. And he's got 3 or 4 PTZ optics cameras, and he's doing all sorts of amazing things. Al is one of my heroes out in the live streaming world, so shout out to Al Bunt. If you're watching, a lot of my success is because of you and people like Amnon Nissan that would tolerate me. So that was July 2012. The very first Streaming Idiot show was in February 2014, so about a year and a half after we started that VidBlaster Guy show. We started the Streaming Idiot show, and part of the reason for that was we realized that the name of the show, That VidBlaster Guy, kind of limited us to VidBlaster, yeah. And we would talk about capture cards and microphones and mixers, and there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about back then, although we did. But what we realized was it really wasn't fair to say it was That VidBlaster Guy when really we were talking about other stuff. And I was a VidBlaster reseller at that point. And so we started the Streaming Idiot show. And then, do I have a date on it? So that was February 2014. By May 2014, we did a show called How to Blend Software Switchers. And so we were using VidBlaster and using the Wirecast encoder portion of it because that was much more efficient than VidBlaster's FMLE. And then vMix kind of came on the scene. So at one point we were using VidBlaster to stream to Wirecast and record to vMix. So we were using all 3 of them. Didn't last very long because it wasn't very efficient. And then we substituted vMix for Wirecast, and we're using VidBlaster for the production and vMix for streaming and recording. And we're actually using vMix streaming and recording today on one PC and another PC, the main PC, in fact, the very same PC that we were using back in 2012, can you believe it? That main PC from 2012 that we're using today is now running vMix instead of VidBlaster. And so it's vMix to vMix instead of VidBlaster to vMix. And that was May 2014. We did our show on how to blend switchers. And then about a year after that, August of 2015, the VidBlaster show had been going, that VidBlaster Guy had been going for 3 years, and the Streaming Idiots show had been going for about a year and a half. So for a year and a half, we did both. We did the Streaming Idiots show, and we did That VidBlaster Guy show. Yeah, I get that too. And I began to realize at that point it was sort of pointless to do both of them. And we actually started skipping some VidBlaster shows here and there. And then in August 2015, we did our last VidBlaster Guy show. About that time, and maybe it was 16, but it was pretty close to that. No, it was 16 because I think Where's my graphic for Nick here? We got it right here. In 2016, I met this guy. Whoops, that's not the right one. Let's try this one. There we go. And that's 2016. That's Nick Davidson. Drove down to Virginia, from Michigan to Alabama, because we picked up. He asked us to build him not one but two, and you can see one of them in the background. Live streaming PCs for the racetrack that he was working with. One was going to do instant replay. One was going to do production and camera switching, graphics, and all that stuff. They were identical, and we were going to basically use one as a backup for the other one. So, hey, Kyle, glad you could make it. We're just reminiscing today. So this is 2016, and Nick and I talked on the phone, and he said, okay, I think I really like what I hear. I want you to build it for me. Give me a number. So I gave him a number, and he said, okay, I'll send you a check. And so he sent me a check. And I mean, that was how we did business. I just gave him a number, and he sent me a check. And then he drove down from Michigan to pick it up. It was really great. And we spent the day, going through all the stuff with the PCs and with VidBlaster. And then he had overstayed. He'd stayed too long to get back on the road, so he ended up. Do you remember that, Nick? Remember you ended up? April 2014. No way! I've got my timeline way off. How about that? No, it couldn't have been that long. April 2014. It was 5 years ago. Wow. That doesn't seem right. But all right, so anyway, so we hadn't been doing the Streaming Idiot show for a couple of months. Anyway, so Nick drives down. We look at the PC. It's running VidBlaster. Now we've got VidBlaster on. I guess we had it on both systems. One license on one and one license on another, because they were duplicates, but one was intended for instant replay. And boy, I'm not getting much work done when I'm talking to you guys. I might have to quit talking in just a second to go back to working. Oh, excuse me. Late night last night, early morning this morning. So Nick gets the PC. He drives it back up to Michigan, and puts it in and installs it and starts using VidBlaster. And he's like, "Well, I don't like this. I don't like that." And somewhere, hold on a second. Somewhere, if you're just joining us, I'm trying to do double duty today. I've got a deadline on this PC. This is a system that we're building for instant replay for a division of a Fortune 500 company that's getting into sports streaming, and they wanted us to build. This is sort of a test unit, and if they like it, they're going to buy a bunch more. So obviously, doing our best work on it, of course. And it's a really cool 4U chassis. It's a narrow chassis, so you can put it in one of those travel cases and wheel it around. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Anyway, so Nick goes back to Michigan and he says, "I don't like VidBlaster. I want to use vMix." So he calls me. He says, "Tom, I don't like VidBlaster. I want to use vMix." And I said, "What's vMix?" Actually, I had downloaded vMix back in 2012, I think, when I was first starting the VidBlaster show, and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't read the directions, of course, so I didn't have a clue what to do, and I just pushed it aside, said it was clunky, didn't want anything to do with it, too hard to figure out, blah, 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 the excuses that you give yourself. And so Nick says, "Well, I gotta have vMix." And I was like, oh my goodness, the VidBlaster, this is back when VidBlaster licenses were not returnable. They still aren't. And so I basically ate a couple of VidBlaster licenses, but I wanted Nick to be happy. And so I approached Martin at vMix. Well, Martin and I share the same last name, Sinclair. So that was kind of an in. And I said, I'd really like to be a reseller. He said, well, back then you needed a $1,000 opening order. And I said, well, I've got a $1,000 opening order. I need 2 pro licenses. And so I got started with that and sent Nick the licenses. He downloaded the software, and I said, if I'm going to support this, I'm going to have to learn it. And so I've forced myself to learn it. Well, after about an hour of forcing myself to learn it, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. It can do this, and it can do this, and it can do that, it can do this, blah, 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 blah. And I started using it for the Streaming Idiot show. I started using it for the VidBlaster Guy show. And when we did the last VidBlaster Guy show, August 2015, yeah, Nick, it had to have been before 2015, because I remember using the vMix software to do the VidBlaster show, and I let that slip one point, and some of the people in the chat room just tore me up. They were the VidBlaster aficionados of the day, and I guess it was, I don't know, it was then, but it was at some point after that and before now that VidBlaster went to a subscription model, so you could buy a subscription to VidBlaster for $9.95 for the year or something like that, and they cut out all the resellers. And fortunately, through Nick, I had been forced to learn vMix and found out it was actually a far superior product, and went full bore with vMix after that. Since then, I should have found out how many we've done in total between the VidBlaster Guy show and the Streaming Idiot show. We've done over 600 videos, 629 to be exact. Depending on where you look on YouTube, we've either had 995,000 views or 960 views. It depends on which of the statistics on there you trust. And as of today, we have 4,961 subscribers. So come on, 39 people, subscribe to our YouTube channel and push us over 5,000. But the most interesting thing, I think, is, and this is YouTube statistics, is that between the two shows, and of course all the tutorials that we put out, that we've had over 5 million viewer minutes. 5 million viewer minutes. 5 million viewer minutes. And that translates into 11 years of watched video. Holy cow. That's a lot of watched video. That's a lot of people sitting through a lot of bad stuff. Anyway, I jest, but some of it was pretty decent. So 629 videos, over 5 million minutes watched, coming up on 1 million views on YouTube. Don't know about Facebook stats. At some point I'll have to sit down, but at some point stats don't really matter, you know. Nick says it was April 15th, 2014 because he went out for a seafood dinner. There you go. Okay. Best seafood he ever had. Thank you very much. So April 15th, 2014, that would be over 5 years ago. Thank you, Nick Davidson. Nick is in our instant replay class, which is meeting again tonight. Don't forget. It's at 7 o'clock Eastern. TJ Thompson is teaching it. We had first class last week. It was a ton of fun. Everything is a ton of fun. Anyway, TJ did a great job, and we're looking for great things again tonight. And I'm forgetting my duties here. Got another output card. Let's see if we can get it in while the camera refocuses. And come on, there we go. We got to get at least something done to justify our existence here. I really like this case. We got a 4 terabyte hard drive just in case. It mounts on a nice bracket that lays in here and mounts on some rubber bumpers, and it's got nice airflow with it. It's, as I mentioned, it's a short case, so it's going to be easy to travel with, and it's really, really cool. Really enjoying that. So, what other stats do we have here? I guess that's about it. Anyway, it was just. Kyle says, watching your early shows was how I learned about vMix. Well, Kyle, here's a tip. That's how I learned about vMix too. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was like, okay, I got to do this show today. I got 15 minutes. Let's see what I can learn. And then I'd show it off on the show and say, yeah, no problem. We got this. So vMix has been a great product. One of the things that has made me feel best about it is knowing that Martin and Tim from vMix and I share the same faith. We're all Christians, and so and Nick is too, and so that really made it so much easier to move forward on that. And I do count divine guidance from Nick as to pushing me towards vMix, in advance of the demise of VidBlaster. Not the demise, but VidBlaster basically moving away from resellers. And so my appreciation to Nick and Martin and Tim and our Lord for taking care of all of us. And it's funny, as I build PCs, and if you've ever built a PC, you know this to be true, or maybe you do, is sometimes things just don't work. And there's no reason why. And then suddenly, the thought would come to me in the shower as to why things don't work. And I'll tell you the full story another time. But it's a divine intervention is all I can say. Divine intervention. It's really not fair to have somebody like that on your side. Of course, he could be on anybody's side, I guess, if you wanted. Anyway, so there we go. Just kind of babbling on a little bit. But I feel very fortunate, very blessed, very well taken care of. And that's the bomb. It really is. So that's the story, that at least the Streaming Idiots, that VidBlaster guy story. The story actually starts way beyond that, way before that. And hey, it's Jacob, wondering if he can join the replay class a week late. Yes, Jacob, send me an email, or you can use the contact form at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Send me a contact right now. I'll sign you up for the class. We'll get you in for the class tonight. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is going to be the middle of the night for you, probably 1 o'clock. But everything is recorded and posted, and I'll give you all the details in that later. But back in 2007, I think you may have heard this story before, I had been taking photographs and short videos of my son's high school soccer team. And one of my buddies, who's a soccer coach for a different school, asked me, he said, Tom, you know a lot about all this stuff. Let's do live video. I've got a big tournament in Orange Beach, Alabama, which is a beautiful beach on the Gulf of Mexico. And I've got teams coming in from all over, and I really want to let the folks that can't make it here be able to watch. And I said, sure, I can figure that out. And, I did. Found a company somewhere in the Midwest somewhere that would allow me to hook my webcam to their to their web page, and so we shared the link to it and took a Logitech C150 or whatever they were back then, and duct taped it to a tripod because it didn't have a 1/4-20 thread on it, and live streamed the whole thing. And 2 days of Friday night, Saturday, all soccer all day, every day. It was quite something. That was 2007, and I didn't know what to call what we were doing. But based on the response that I got from people that were watching after the fact, they sent us emails because there wasn't a chat room associated with it. At least I don't think there was. No, there wasn't. Boy, I wish I could find some of that stuff. Anyway. We streamed it on Ustream, and I think all that stuff's gone away. Anyway, the response was overwhelming, and we got emails from people all over the world that were talking about how special it was to be able to see their son or daughter play. Now, we were talking about little figures that were probably this big, that big right there, running around on the screen. You couldn't see much, but at least you got the feel like you were there. We didn't have graphics. We would take a clipboard and we'd write the score on it and we'd put it in front of the camera. That was the graphics. We didn't have play-by-play, or at least we didn't at first. And then some of the coaches found out we were doing, this live streaming thing, and they came up and I said, oh, Coach, why don't you tell the people at home? We were too embarrassed to do it. Why don't you tell the people at home what's going on down on the field? So the coaches started giving commentary. So we had graphics, we had live stream. We didn't have replay, but we were pretty close to ESPN with our little webcam. But whatever that thing was, we knew it was a thing, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. And here we are 12 years later, and still a big part of it. And I thank you. Gunner's showing up and said, did I miss anything? Oh, my gosh. Did you miss? You'll just have to play it. You'll have to run it back. Ron Wallace is here. Hey, Ron. Just telling stories about starting out with live streaming before it was called live streaming. And I knew it was a technology that was going to touch a lot of people a lot of different ways, and I'm so happy with the way churches have embraced this technology. Certainly anybody that wants to communicate anything to anyone has embraced this technology. We're working with the local school board so that their school board meetings can be live streamed. And I say, well, you say, Tom, that's, everybody's doing that. Yeah, well, except we're adding a level to it that I think makes it a little more special. And that is we're using PTZ Optics cameras. I'm a PTZ Optics reseller. And the PTZ Optics cameras have the ability to live stream from inside the camera. So if you hook Ethernet up to that camera and configure the camera correctly, it'll live stream to YouTube or Facebook or almost anywhere you want to go. So we've got that going, and we've actually connected the camera's power to a light switch. And so when you flip the switch on, it powers the camera on, the camera starts streaming, and when you're done, you turn the light switch off, the camera turns off, it stops streaming. We've even wired into the same switch an on-air light. So all this is mounted on the wall about 8 or 10 feet off the floor, and then it's hooked in for audio to the sound system that's in the room. So when the sound is working in the room, it's working in the camera. When you flip the switch, everything turns on, runs automatically. It's a hands-free, idiot-proof operation. Doesn't require an operator, only requires that somebody remember to turn the soundboard on, and they have to do it because it's a big room anyway, and they need the sound reinforcement. So we've actually done that in two different meeting rooms here in the county. So it's fun to work on those kind of projects. I'm working with a guy who has a boat, 110-foot ship, really, and he's got a giant video board on the back of it. And we've got a vMix system on loan to him so that he can play around with it and take different things that he wants to broadcast. For example, he wants to broadcast, hadn't happened yet, he wants to do the Super Bowl. So he's going to take the Super Bowl video and run it through vMix so that he can shrink it down and then run his own ads around it, or messages, or a ticker across the bottom, or whatever. It's great. It's so much fun to get these interesting projects. Like the project that we're doing here. This if you're just joining us, this is a PC that we're building, and I'm building it as we speak, actually, because I'm running so far behind. But this is for a subsidiary of a Fortune 500 company that is opening a sports department, and they came to us and asked them to build them a test replay PC. And so if they like it, they're going to order a bunch more. But they've ordered this one, and so we're building it for them. And it'll have 4 SDI inputs, 4 SDI outputs, of course NDI 2, 32 gigs of RAM, i7 9700K CPU, couple of M2.2s here, and then a 4 terabyte platter drive for long-term storage and all other kind of stuff. And it's slicker than snuff, and it's in a nice little short case so that it'll be mobile. I don't know that they're going to make it mobile, but it will be, and I think they'll see an advantage to that when they get it. The case was a little extra money, but that's okay. You got to get the right tool for the job. So that's kind of our specialty at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Where are we? Right here. Is that we're not doing, we're not selling 500 PCs like Dell. We're building custom PCs for custom needs. That doesn't mean now that we don't do things that are less expensive. We have a number of church systems that let's see, several that we've quoted, and a couple that we've built that were, surprised me, were less than $3,000, and that included the vMix license and the capture cards and everything. Didn't include cameras, of course, but we were able to again, the trick is finding the right parts at the right price to put it all together. So if you're thinking about a PC for your church to do live streaming, or for your city council, or for your high school, or for your own studio for your talk show, you may want to talk with us. We just sent, I think she got it Monday, sent Stacy Ann a PC for her show, and hopefully we'll get Stacy Ann on this show after she's had hers for a little while and can talk about that experience. But it was so much fun to work with her on a one-on-one basis and help her solve some of the problems that that she had. For example, she wanted to do green screen. Well, no, she didn't want to do green screen. She wanted to do a real backdrop, and she wanted to have a camera that could use that depth of field kind of thing to make the backdrop out of focus just slightly. Well, the problem was the backdrop was like 18 inches behind her, and we did find a camera that would had enough adjustment in it to get that depth of field off, but it was pretty expensive, and so it made her change her thoughts, and she ended up changing the orientation of the studio. So instead of a long flat room where she was shooting like this, it was a long flat room where she was shooting like that, and she could get some more depth of field and do some more things with lighting. Anyway, it was fun to help her on that, and to know that will be, or fun. I think it's fun. It's fun for me, for her to know that she's got somebody like me that she can count on long term as she runs into questions and wants to do other things. That's the thing. I mean, you can go out and you can buy a PC, or you can build a PC that'll do probably at least 50% of what ours will do. But who are you going to call? Who are you going to call when the ghosts get into it? And that's the thing, is that with intimate knowledge of vMix and intimate knowledge of PC, we are the one call that folks have to make in order to get their problem solved. And I was talking with somebody this morning who had an audio problem, and the audio wasn't working, and it was vMix's fault. And so we got on TeamViewer, went and took a look, and of course, Windows wasn't hearing the audio from his mixer, and if Windows doesn't hear it, then vMix is not going to hear it. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So that's it. That's the whole story. We're having a lot of fun. If we can help you have more fun, you know how to reach us. If you want to be like who was it that just said a few minutes ago they were interested in getting in the class tonight? Anyway, if you'd like to join the instant replay class, you've only missed one class, you can still get in. If you're interested, and you say, Tom, instant replay, I don't even understand vMix yet. Well, we do have a vMix 101 class coming up. I believe it starts October 8th. Registration is open now. You can go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the store and go into the classes link, and there will be that class. It's a 6-week class. We will teach it. It's kind of interesting. We want to make sure as many people can get it as possible. So we're going to teach it twice a day. We're going to teach it in the afternoon, and we're going to teach it in the evening. Same class and the same body of students. You can attend both classes if you want to. And so that way, folks that are in Europe can get us in the evening when we teach it in the afternoon. People on the West Coast can get it after work when we teach it in the evening. So, and people that are doing it for work can watch it, can take the class during work. So we did it last year, and in fact, if you go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, if you go into the store, if you go into the class, and if you go into the vMix 101 class, Chuck and Mike took the class last time and gave us some really nice video testimonials about the class, so you can go watch those and just kind of hear how they thought the class benefited them. What's Nick's saying something? I called you a lot when we started out, and you were there for me every time you were there. Best customer service I've ever received. Wow. Well, thank you. Richard says, let's make live streaming great again. Live streaming. Yeah, well, you're an idiot, so you're in the right place. Well, I think it's pretty great already. Let's keep it great. That's the thing. Let's see. Munme4 said, we'll be calling later this afternoon or tomorrow morning RE vMix registration issues. Okay, I might be able to help with a vMix registration issue, but if you've got an issue like that, a licensing issue, a registration issue, you probably need to contact vMix directly. support@vmix.com is the email, support@vmix.com. Typically, we give unlimited lifetime technical support to our vMix customers. If you bought vMix from vMix directly or from another reseller, we can answer a quick question over the phone, but if it goes to more than that, then we'll have to set you up either on an hourly contract or on an annual contract. The hourly is $75 an hour and the annual is $200. And we have quite a number of folks that have chosen the 200 so that they can call us whenever they need to, and we're happy to answer those questions. Let's move into the post-show, so we'll close out the show portion of the show today. And if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to take them, and we'll be right back. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to us on Facebook, on YouTube, because we only need 39 more folks to get over 5,000. So we would encourage you to do that. And if you're like saying, Tom, what is this Streaming Idiots thing? Well, on Facebook, there's a group called Streaming Idiots, and we'd love to have you come join. Just do Facebook and search for Streaming Idiots, and it'll pop up. There are almost 3,000 folks in that group, and I really do take what goes on in that group very seriously, and so we want everybody to behave. And one of the ways that we behave is if we're kind of accountable. And one of the ways that I want to make you accountable is you have to give us your email address. So if you sign up for the group and don't give us your email address, we probably won't let you in the group. Now we'll also spam you twice a year, maybe 3 times, but that's the deal. That's the deal. So we're going to go to the post show, and we'll be right back after this great closing. Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay, there we go. I was just getting in a little extra work here while I was waiting on you guys to get back. What else can we do here while we're waiting? We need to set that. We need to set that. Yeah, we better wait on that. So, any questions? Thanks for sitting through the story of the beginnings of that VidBlaster guy, and Streaming Idiots. Somebody asked me the other day, Tom, where did this whole Streaming Idiots thing come from? And it just came to me in the shower one day I was probably building a PC, probably feeling like an idiot. Rich, what did you miss? Not much, just the whole show, but that's okay. And I just said, I am such an idiot. I feel like an idiot so much of the time when I'm doing live streaming. And then I thought, you know what? That'd be a great idea for a show. Streaming Idiots, because everybody feels like an idiot sooner or later. You forget to turn the mic on, or you forget to turn the mic off, or whatever. Sooner or later, you feel like an idiot. Even though you knew better, you're just an idiot. And I said, we're kind of all in that boat together. And wouldn't it be fun to get all the idiots together in one place? So we had a show. And then Jan and Marie started the Facebook group, Streaming Idiots. And we had the first ever Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. That was NAB 2017 in Las Vegas. And there were about 25 folks there. We did it again in 2018. There were 100 people there. We did it last year, 2019. There were another 100 people there. We're going to be at IBC next month, and we may have to have an impromptu idiots meetup. if we can find a suitable venue that can handle a couple of folks. Rich says, you are literally the only show in town. Well, I don't know, Rich, there are a lot of shows out there. It just depends on what you're looking for. But we are actually the longest, the oldest and longest continually running live streaming show about live streaming shows. So, for what it's worth. It's been a great run. It's been a great run. I can't think of a Wednesday without having a Streaming Idiots show. It's been a ton of fun. And you guys are what make it fun. I mean, you know, interacting with folks in the chat and then meeting you guys in person. Like Jim O'Keefe. I don't know if Jim's watching live today, but Jim had a knee replacement. Was it a knee or a hip, Jim? I think I remember knee, but it could have been hip. And Jim was at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB back in April and took wonderful photographs. And Jim, I appreciate that so much. And then had his knee replaced. And he told me, he said, you know, I wanted to have it done after the NAB meetup so that it would be all healed up and I could come to the next one next April. So Jim, here's to meeting up. Otis says, try the bowling alley for the meetup. All right. Is there a bowling alley in Amsterdam? Is bowling a thing? That would be good. I like bowling. But I guess we could. I was thinking of someplace where we could have a sandwich and sit down and chat. I guess bowling alleys have sandwiches. Dave says, it's always been fun and I've learned a lot through the years. Dave, you're not the only one. It has been a lot of fun. And and there's more to come. You know, in some ways, the more we do this, the simpler it gets. In other ways, the more we do it, the more other people come up with other ways to do it that adds layers of complexity. And I've been fighting to keep it as simple as possible because the Streaming Idiots tend to appeal to folks that are either newbies, novices, or young, starting out intermediates. You know, as you acquire more and more skill, more and more knowledge, more and more experience, you know, what we have to offer here with Streaming Idiots is interesting. It's fun, but it's not meat. You know, this is milk. This is where you get started, where you learn the basics, where you find that there's a community out there that'll help support you, and so it's a great place to start, and it's a good place to stay. And one of the things that I love about the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook is, you know, new folks will come in and they'll ask the same stupid questions that you and I asked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And the folks that have been in the group for a while, you know, the folks that have deep experience are very patient and answering those questions, even though they may be answering them for the 50th time, because people don't know. And if you don't know, where do you go? You know, you do what you can to find things out, but sooner or later, you have to ask a question. Oh, I need a yawn cam. Sorry about that. And so, yeah, and there's some people, you know, there's always people that would much rather ask than look up the information. And I think there's a tremendous value in both, actually. In asking, you deepen the relationship with the people you're asking questions of. But in researching, you find other information that you weren't looking for, but information that you can add to your repertoire, add to your, you know, kind of internal encyclopedia of what you know. So I think it's important to do as much research as you can because of that ancillary knowledge. It's like, and for those of you that are young, this won't make any sense, but it's like taking a dictionary or an encyclopedia down off the shelf, opening it up, trying to find the page that you're looking for. And so you're looking at other things and things catch your eye and it's like, oh, okay, well, here's information about elephants that I didn't know anything about. as I'm on my way to learn where envelopes were invented or something, whatever the case may be. So you get lots of other ancillary information, and that's always helpful and valuable, I think. Otis says, people ask me, how do I know all this video and streaming stuff? I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's right. I agree, Otis. I agree. And, having a kind of what I would call a humble attitude helps a lot. It's when we get cocky and haughty that we end up doing or saying something stupid, and then we're back to the idiot cycle again. We're down here an idiot, we get confidence, we get cocky and haughty, and then we screw up and we're back down to idiot again. Guy says, simple is good for us old folks. Well, that's right. I think so too. And I think, especially when we're talking about PCs or hardware or workflow systems or cameras or almost anything, the simpler is better, for the reason that it doesn't break as easily as complex things break. If you have a series of audio connections that require 7 things to all work perfectly, and one of them doesn't, it all goes down. But if you just have one connection, nice simple one, and something happens and it breaks, you know exactly what to look for. With the others, you've got 7 places to look, and maybe you're going to find the answer in time, and maybe not. So simple's good. The other thing, and this is one of these principles in life, somebody invented it and coined it and has a name for it, and I don't remember the name or who coined it. Maybe you know. But that is, what is it? Okay, it's right on the tip of my tongue, or it's not on the tip, but it's back there a little bit. But it's that thought that the answer is probably the simple one, not the complex one. Hey, there's Jim. We were just talking about you, Jim. That the simple answer is probably the right answer. That the complex, complicated answer is probably not the right answer. And I've seen that happen time and time again in my life, where I will search for the hard answer, when really the answer is, is it plugged in? I was building a PC one time, and the darn thing just, it worked great. I built them twice. I built it once on the workbench, and then I installed it in the case and built it again. And I had built the PC on the workbench. Everything was great. Got the operating system installed all the software, updated everything, drivers and software and etc. And then built it a second time in the case, and it didn't work. It wouldn't run. Doggone it. What could be the problem? And I went to bed and slept fitfully that night. Got up the next morning, I was like, I am just screwed. Wait a second. Screws. Maybe, screws are what part of what grounds the motherboard. If the screw is not making contact with the grounding plate on the mounting hole, then you're going to get all sorts of crazy responses. And that's what I was looking for, was something to do with the installation of it. And so I went and checked, and I'd used the wrong screws. There were a whole bunch of screws that came in the pack, and I'd used the screws for one thing, not the screws that were intended for the motherboard, because the screws that I used didn't quite cinch down to the motherboard. They attached it, but they didn't make contact with the solder dots that would allow it to ground. And so I replaced the screws, and it fired right up. Darndest thing. It was the wrong screws. Jim says, thanks for the call out. I'm listening while driving. Had to pull over to reply. And it was the knee. Well, we're counting on you being up and around real soon, because I need you to take pictures. At least I need you to take pictures next year at the Streaming Idiots meetup. And if you haven't met Jim, you need to introduce yourself to him next year at Streaming Idiots, because he's a great guy. So anyway, all right, well, I got to clear out here. I got things to do, PCs to build, and people to annoy. So it was great hanging out with you guys today. I really appreciate y'all spending time with me. And I will see you soon. And I'll see some of you tonight. So Y'all take care, and we'll let this roll out, and we'll be back later.